Hello everyone. As we all know that on 8th of January uh, 2025, SEBI has issued a circular in which in Annexure 1 they have specified model portfolio guidelines as to what a model portfolio is and how a model portfolio can be made and what are the requirement, what are the compliance requirement around model portfolio. So a model portfolio is a new opportunity which is given to research analyst apart from the algo trading. Uh, you know, so there are two new opportunities which are emerging for research analyst nowadays. One is the algo trading and second is the model portfolio. For the algo trading, we have already discussed. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the model portfolio, its guideline, how to make model portfolio, and what are the compliance requirement, what are the basic compliance requirement for model portfolio. Okay, so now, if we talk about model portfolio, so first of all, we need to understand the definition of model portfolio. What a model portfolio means. Model portfolio is any basket of securities with assigned weightages. So that means the underlying concept is whenever you are issuing a basket of securities and assigning weightages, then it is called a model portfolio. But if you are issuing a basket of securities and not assigning any weightage, in such case that will be only basket of security and will not be called as model portfolio. So that is the essential part of model portfolio, that a model portfolio will always come with weightages, and if it is not coming with weightages, in that case it will be only a basket of securities which you are giving. Okay, so once you assign weightages it becomes a model portfolio, and once it becomes a model portfolio you need to comply with the guidelines of model portfolio. So as there is, if there is no weightage, it is not a model portfolio. Okay, the next one is what is the disclosure requirement, or what are the reporting requirement for model portfolio. Before I go into that, you need to have two things in a model portfolio. Number one is the weightage, and you need to have a launch date in the model portfolio. So there are two critical dates in a model portfolio. One is the launch date. It is the date on which the model portfolio is issued by research analyst. So the day you issue a model portfolio, that is called your launch date. And then there is another date which is called the update date. So in case if you make any kind of changes in the list of stock or any other change in the model portfolio, that is called the update date of portfolio. So these are the two critical dates. What is the significance of these two dates we will talk about later, and you will understand in later slides why the launch date and why the update date are defined separately. So launch date is the date of issue of model portfolio by RA, and the update date is the date on which any updation happens in the model portfolio. So that's what it is. Now, coming on to the reporting requirement, any model portfolio must be supported by certain reporting requirements, and these reporting requirement must include the disclosures, the mandatory disclosures, the rationale of model portfolio, the methodology of portfolio, and the dates. Okay, so these are the key critical requirements as far as the model portfolio framework is concerned. So understand this very correctly, that apart from the regular RA compliances that you do, you also need to do some additional compliances for model portfolio. If I won't say that these are those hard compliances as the other as given in other RA regulation, but the point is these are disclosure type of compliances that you need to maintain. It has to be with you all the time when you are issuing any kind of model portfolio, apart from any other RA regulation, RA compliance that you are doing. So those regulation will also be done, and those compliances will also be done, and the model portfolio compliances will be kind of an additional compliances that you would be doing. So coming on to each point one by one, so you need to have a research report of a model portfolio. So whatever stock that you are including in the model portfolio, for each stock you need to have a research report. You can make a consolidated report for the model portfolio. If you want to maintain individually, that you can also do. But since it's a model portfolio, it's a basket of securities, so it would have two parts. So understand this, it would have the two part, the report will have two parts. Number one, the research report or the rationale report of individual securities, and a model portfolio report that should be there. Okay, so part one would be the model portfolio report, which will have certain elements that I'll talk about, and the second part would be the individual element of stocks for which you have maintained the rationale. So coming over, so individual stock that you already know that how to maintain the rationale and how, what to do and what not to do. In this, I'll focus on the model portfolio report, which will be an addition to the existing recommendation report if you are issuing any kind of model portfolio. So model portfolio, before I talk about model portfolio report in detail, let's understand its components. So number one component is the methodology and the labeling, right? You need to define the methodology of a model portfolio, which means if you are choosing stocks on momentum based, if you are choosing stock on growth based, if you are choosing stock on earning based, or any theme based or any index based, you need to define that methodology. Step by step process need not to be given, but the overall methodology as to what kind of methodology that you are following to select the stocks in that portfolio, that you need to define. It is a mandate, so it is mandatory. Now once you define the methodology, make sure that it is true to label. What is the meaning of true to label? That if you have defined a model portfolio based on momentum methodology, you cannot choose stocks based on growth. Okay, so if you have defined your model portfolio and your methodology is based on only Nifty 50 stocks, then you cannot go and select stocks from mid cap or maybe small cap. But if you are selecting any, making a model portfolio based on any sector specific, okay, so if it is a energy based portfolio, then you cannot select stocks based, auto sector stocks in it. So the methodology and the execution of methodology has to be same. That is the meaning of true to label. So whatever methodology that you're using and what is the label of whatever is the name or the label of portfolio, the stock selection has to be according to that methodology, and it has to be true to the label, means it should justify the name. Okay, so that's what it is. And obviously it has to be easy to understand for customer, that they understand what you are selling to them. Another thing that you need to do in this report is to define the investment horizon, which means you need to clearly define that how long this portfolio will run. Number one, investment horizon will have two parts. The complete investment horizon, that okay, this is a 5-year portfolio or 10-year portfolio, that's what it is, the investment horizon for investor. And second is the rebalancing intervals, that you need to define on what frequency that you would be doing rebalancing to that portfolio. It could have a constant period, it could have a non-constant period. What is the meaning of constant period? The constant period is like, for example, you are rebalancing your portfolio on weekly basis, on monthly basis, or maybe quarterly basis, or any other frequency that you may choose. And non-constant means that you are defining different dates of rebalancing. For example, the first rebalancing will happen on 15th of February, second rebalancing will happen say 20th of March, third rebalancing will happen maybe 10th of April, and next rebalancing will happen maybe on 30th of June. So it is non-constant. The time period in between the dates is non-constant. So you can define a non-constant rebalancing as well as a constant rebalancing based on weekly, monthly, or whatever interval you may choose. Okay, but make sure that whatever date that you are defining, you must rebalance on that particular date. And if there is no rebalance on that date, you make sure that you communicate this to client that no rebalancing on this date. Okay, So rebalancing, defining rebalancing is a part of model portfolio report, which is very, very important. So these are the certain elements. It's like, you have two parts of a report. That one part is giving the entire holistic picture of your portfolio, the key elements of your portfolio, and then the second part is defining the individual securities rationale that you are choosing to include in your portfolio. Next component of that portfolio report would be the risk and the benchmarking. You need to clearly define what is my portfolio risk, and you need to do all the risk disclosures, right? The market risks and etc. The normal disclosure that to do, and also you need to define the benchmarking of your model portfolio. That means whatever portfolio you are making, it has to be benchmarked against something. It could be an index, it could be a combination of index, it could be sector index, it could be any other way where you are benchmarking. So benchmarking has to be defined. For example, if you are making a portfolio which contains mid cap, small cap and micro cap and large cap in 25% ratio, right? In that case, you need to have a benchmarking according to that. So you need to take large cap index, mid cap index, small cap index and micro cap index and do 25% weightage to them. Then that would be a real benchmarking, which will be according to your portfolio. So your portfolio has to be benchmarked against some kind of index. For example, if you are going with any sector specific portfolio, maybe it's a auto portfolio, right? Auto model portfolio, then you need to benchmark it against the auto sector index. So that's how it will work. So try not to make any kind of super fancy portfolio, then otherwise you will have problem in benchmarking. Remember, there are four things in this. Number one, the methodology. Second is the labeling, and third is the rebalancing frequency, and fourth is the benchmarking. These four parameter has to be there in a model portfolio. So if you are making your model portfolio, make sure that you are testing all the elements of portfolio, means the four parts which I just talked about. Because if you stuck to define any part, then you are not complying with the guidelines of model portfolio. So model portfolio has to comply with these four things no matter what. So for example, if you are designing a portfolio which is say risk adjusted portfolio, or maybe you are defining your methodology that on every 10% of market downfall, I'll rebalance. In that case, you will be able to define the methodology, but you won't be able to define the rebalancing date. How would you define the rebalancing date? Because you don't know at what point in time the market will fall 10%, right? If you are rebalancing frequency or rebalancing methodology is based on 10% of market downfall, right? You won't be able to define those dates. Then in that case, the third element, which is the benchmarking frequency, you won't be able to do that. So every portfolio has to satisfy these four conditions in order to be a right portfolio. Okay, that you need to keep in mind, that you test each and every portfolio on these four parameters. Next one is, what is the audit compliance on this? Apart from your regular RA compliances, the auditor will check these points: that have you defined the weightage in the model portfolio? What was the launch date? Are you complying with the rebalancing frequency and the update dates are same? You are giving update date of certain, for example, 15th of February, but your rebalancing date is on 18th of February. So that's a mismatch. Your update date has to be balancing with, match with the rebalancing date. Okay. So that's how it is. So are you defining the rebalancing date correctly, or the rebalancing frequency correctly? Are your rebalancing, your benchmarking is correct or not? Or the benchmarking, have you defined the benchmarking or not? Or have you defined the risk of your portfolio or not? So all these four elements will be checked by auditor, apart from your regular RA compliances that you are doing. Okay. So the audit report will, in case your services include the normal recommendation services as well as the model portfolio services. So in that case, you will have the regular RA compliances, right, under SEBI Act. And apart from that, you will also have model portfolio compliances, which are these fours, right? So this you need to do from a audit compliance perspective, and rest of the things will remain same in audit, that the filing part and stuff like that, that will all remain same. And there is no so there would be only a consolidated audit, not a separate audit for model portfolio and a separate audit for normal recommendation. So as a RA, if you're providing two services, the same audit report will include model portfolio audits observation as well as the normal audit observation. So there is no need to do two audits, one for model portfolio as well as for normal compliance audit, sorry. So just to wrap it up, so there are four ingredients in a model portfolio. Number one is weightage. Without weightage, it is just a basket of securities. It is not model portfolio. Second is rebalancing frequency. It can be constant, it can be non-constant. I have already given you an example. And third one is performance benchmarking. And fourth is true to label, that it should not be misleading. Whatever you have defined, whatever you have, whatever name that you have given to your model portfolio, it should, the stock selection has to according to that. Okay. So these are the four things that you need to keep in mind for any kind of model portfolio. Apart from that, I'm just sharing the document with you. And there are a couple of more points that I wish to highlight. Just give me 1 second. I'm sharing the screen. So this is the document of 8th January circular. This is the part of 8th January circular, Annexure A. There are guidelines which are mentioned in the model portfolio for research analyst. So if I talk about one by one quickly, model portfolio already defined, that means a basket of securities with relevant weightage. So weightage has to be there with the securities, right? Only then it is a model portfolio. Second is minimum set of disclosure. Disclosures क्या हैं? Disclosure should be included in model portfolio report. Model portfolio report में क्या disclosures आएंगे वो मैं आपके सामने भी बात करता हूँ. तो यहाँ पे आपको ये डिस्क्लोजर देने हैं. सो डिस्क्लोजर्स आर मैंडेटरी. डिस्क्लोजर किसके हिसाब से होंगे? मॉडल पोर्टफोलियो रिपोर्ट के हिसाब से होंगे. सो दो डिस्क्लोजर हैज़ टू बी अकॉर्डिंग टू मॉडल पोर्टफोलियो रिपोर्ट. एंड what model portfolio report says, model portfolio report is defined in point number 2, right? The model portfolio shall be issued through a research report. So it is a part of research report, right? It should have the securities which are there in your model portfolio. Okay. And apart from that, your fact sheet, the basic information about model portfolio has to be there. Basic information, what it would have, the disclosure, the rationale, the methodology, the launch date, the update date, and the type of model portfolio contained therein, right? If you are issuing more than one portfolio, then it has to define that. Another point which the model portfolio framework will have is the clear definition of methodology, on what basis you are selecting the stock. It could be anything. It could be your growth portfolio, it could be momentum based, it could be sector based, it could be theme based, whatever it is. Right. So like Make in India portfolio, defense portfolio, auto portfolio. So couple of the examples are already given in this. Right. So, and security selection criteria has to be there. That is the methodology, whether you are selecting on the basis of fundamental or in the basis of technical analysis or anything else that you are using. Right. Another one is the labeling, true to label concept. So the labeling has to be clearly defined. Right. The labeling has to be so much clear that the way that you are selecting the securities, it should reflect in your label. So it cannot be like if you are saying that this is the defense portfolio and you are selecting stocks from non-defense index, right? It cannot happen. Another one is define your investment horizon. Clearly define at what is the investment horizon for your portfolio. Is it 3 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10 years or more than that, right? Frequency of portfolio review and update. This is nothing. the entire line is just one, which is rebalancing. Okay, whatever rebalancing interval you are defining, so it only says that you need to define the intervals, and it has to be predefined in the report. So report is that model portfolio report. Okay, so in the report you need to define the rebalancing interval. The interval can be constant and non-constant. It could be different dates, it could be a same spacing frequency. It could be weekly, monthly, quarterly, whatever. Another one is the risk disclosure that I have already talked about, and the benchmarking against any index, right? So you need to create a portfolio according to, where you can find the relevant benchmarking. If you are creating any fancy kind of portfolio where you do not have any kind of benchmarking, then the fourth point, which is the benchmarking point that I talked about, that will not comply, and that will not be the right portfolio. So you need to comply with the four factors in this: that the methodology, the rebalancing frequency, the benchmarking, and the four things that I have already talked about in this. So just to give you an idea. And audit requirements, again, there is no need to for a separate audit for model portfolio as well as a regular RA audits. It would be same if any RA is providing both the services of model portfolio as well as the recommendation. They will have only one compliance audit, which will also include the model portfolio audit as well, right? So this is the requirement from compliance perspective and the guideline perspective. This video this last slide has the summary, and these are the four requirements that you need to comply with all the time for every model portfolio. And when we did the meeting, we had few questions, and in that I remember couple of them. सी वहाँ पे मेरे पास दो प्राइमरी क्वेश्चन आए थे, और वही क्वेश्चंस मैं अभी यहाँ पे ले लेता हूँ. एक तो जो रिस्क बेस्ड या मार्केट ड्रिवन पोर्टफोलियो है, उसका मैंने आपको बता दिया कि अगर आप मार्केट ड्रिवन पोर्टफोलियो बनाएंगे, फॉर एग्जांपल आपने बोला कि हर 5% मार्केट डाउन पे मैं पोर्टफोलियो को रीबैलेंस करूँगा, तो वो मेथडोलॉजी तो डिफाइन हो गई, बट उसमें आपका रीबैलेंसिंग पीरियड आप डिफाइन नहीं कर पाओगे, बिकॉज यू डोंट नो at what point in time the market will fall by 5% or 10%, whatever is your methodology, right? So rebalancing date you will not be able to predefine, so that that will not satisfy this criteria of predefined rebalancing dates. Okay. सेकेंड क्वेश्चन जो मेरे को मिला था उसमें ये था कि काफ़ी सारे लोगों ने पूछा क्या हम डेली रीबैलेंसिंग कर सकते हैं. देखिए, रीबैलेंसिंग का ऐसा कोई भी क्राइटेरिया उन्होंने डिफाइन नहीं करा है. ठीक है, रीबैलेंसिंग आप डेली करें, इवन आरली कर सकते हैं, इवन 5 मिनट्स में कर सकते हैं, इवन आप 15 मिनट्स में कर सकते हैं. मेरा क्वेश्चन सिंपल आपसे ये है कि अगर आप रीबैलेंसिंग इतने छोटे इंटरवल पे करना चालू करेंगे और आपको रैशनल तो मेंटेन करना ही है, तो आप फिर मॉडल पोर्टफोलियो के एडिशनल कंप्लायंस में जाना ही क्यों चाहते हैं? इससे अच्छा तो आप, अगर आप आवरली रीबैलेंसिंग कर रहे हैं, तो उसको नॉर्मल रिकमेंडेशन की तरह ही दे दो, क्योंकि रिपोर्ट तो इन एनी विच वेज आपको मेंटेन करनी है, चाहे वो मॉडल पोर्टफोलियो के थ्रू करो रिपोर्ट मेंटेन, चाहे आप नॉर्मल रिकमेंडेशन के थ्रू करो, तो रिपोर्ट तो मेंटेन हो ही रही है. लेकिन आप उसको मॉडल पोर्टफोलियो बोल के बेचोगे तो उसमें क्या होगा, आपको 4 चीज़ों से और कंप्लाई करना पड़ेगा, तो आप एडिशनल कंप्लायंस में जाना ही क्यों चाहते हो? तो मेरा सजेशन सिंपल सा ये है कि जो लोग छोटे टाइम फ्रेम पे मॉडल पोर्टफोलियो बनाने का सोच रहे हैं, प्लीज़ वो मत करिए. उससे अच्छा आप रिकमेंडेशन का जो काम कर रहे हैं वो रिकमेंडेशन के काम से ही आप कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि उसमें एडिशनल कंप्लायंसेस आएंगे और रीबैलेंसिंग में प्रॉब्लम होगी आपको. जो मॉडल पोर्टफोलियो कॉन्सेप्ट है वो ओवरऑल लॉन्ग टर्म जो स्टॉक्स हैं उनके लिए ज़्यादा रेलेवेंट है, जहाँ पे आपका टाइम फ्रेम 1 मंथ या 6 मंथ या 3 मंथ्स के टाइम फ्रेम पे आप रीबैलेंसिंग कर रहे हैं और वो पोर्टफोलियो अगले 5, 10, 15 साल रन कर रहा है. तो अगर आपका इतना हायर टाइम फ्रेम है इन्वेस्टमेंट का, उसके लिए मॉडल पोर्टफोलियो वुड बी अ राइट चॉइस. बट on a shorter time period or intraday time period, model portfolio is not the go-to product. So that's all about model portfolio. And if you have any question, you can always reach out to me, and I'll share this document of Annexure A that you already might have it, but I'll share it. Yeah. Thank you so much.